Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Gary A. Swaby, and today we're going to be talking about Uncharted: The Lost Legacy. I'm here with Mr. Richard Bailey Jr. How you doing, Rich?
Doing good, Gary. What's up, listeners and viewers?
Indeed. So yeah, man, Uncharted: The Lost Legacy. If you're listening to this, the game's coming out, and it's time to talk about it. Um, like I didn't really know what to expect that much when I went into this. I haven't played that much. I haven't, actually completed it yet. But one thing I will say is that, like, when I first played it, I forgot just how good Uncharted looks. Like, because I remember Uncharted 4 looked amazing. But, when in those first moments, that first sequence with Chloe in Uncharted Lost Legacy, like, I was just blown away. Like, it looks incredible still. And it seems like they might have even polished the game, like the engine, a little bit more, compared to Uncharted 4. But yeah, from what I played so far, the game is excellent. But Richard, what's your thoughts on Uncharted Lost Legacy after spending some time with it? Because I think you actually finished it as well. So what's your thoughts?
Oh yes, I absolutely did complete the game. If you have not seen the review yet on the website, definitely check it out. But I have to agree right off the bat. Yes, the game looks fantastic. You mentioned Uncharted 4 looked great. This also looked great. Now, I probably should say, as I said in the review, now I did review the game on PlayStation 4. I didn't review it on PlayStation 4 Pro. I know with PlayStation 4 Pro, of course, it looks a lot better than it does on the PlayStation 4. Not really sure of how much better it looks because I haven't seen any comparisons. But for what it's worth, yes, the game looks fantastic. The graphics are top notch. Um, for those that are wondering what to expect, when they first revealed the footage for the Uncharted: The Lost Legacy, like I mean, way back at PlayStation Experience, and we had that scene where we saw Chloe walking through a town, and eventually it was revealed that that is her and Nadine. That pretty much is how the game starts. It does start from that particular stage, but then of course, as you get deeper, and you go into India, then you start to see a lot of the other footage that you've already seen out there so far. But the game is great. I mean, I thought it was fantastic. Like you read my review, I gave it a 93 overall. Because I think the big thing for me about the game is that a lot of people had a lot of preconceived notions going into this, thinking that, well, this is just some people actually thought it would be disappointing because Nathan Drake is not in it, and they thought that maybe the other characters can't hold their own without Nathan Drake. But the fact of the matter is, Chloe is a very interesting character. A lot of people loved her in Uncharted 2. So it was a very good decision to have her in there, but also to bring in Nadine Ross, which is a character that everybody was interested in with Uncharted 4. So I
Yeah.
think that the pairing and the chemistry between the two characters, as well as the actresses, I think that really speaks volumes. And like I said, you said you're early in the game, but as you get deeper into the game, yeah, you do see their chemistry gets even better and better as you get deeper into it. But yeah, I mean, I was surprised specifically because of that, because I already was impressed when I first saw the first trailer of it, but then to actually see it in action, to see the way that they interact with each other and how the story pans out, it's just very, very well done. And also, one thing I will add, because I know you're going to probably ask me a few questions, is that we do know that Chloe, she is Indian Australian descent. So pretty much the reason why the story works is because it is a bit of a personal story for her, because it is mainly about her heritage. It is connected to her heritage in certain ways. I can't really talk about any story details because I think anybody that is an Uncharted fan, they need to just straight up play the game. I don't want to give you any spoilers, and we can't give any spoilers anyway because it's way too early for that. But I just think for those that are going into the game, you notice that the story is a lot more personal, having to do with Chloe, and I think that's a good thing because, as I already mentioned, she's a very interesting character that people really wanted to know more about, and I think that Naughty Dog has done a great job really diving further into her character in this particular game. And I also believe that, you know, should they decide to do another Uncharted game, which I believe they definitely can, her and Nadine make a great team. So I would not be surprised if they decide to have them in future games. But yeah, definitely a fantastic game. And just like I said in my review, if there's one game that you can only afford to buy this month, you have a PlayStation 4, you definitely need to pick up this game. I know Sonic Mania is out there. It's a fantastic game as well. You know, so you may have a couple of hard decisions to make, but this is a game that speaks volumes about Naughty Dog. It's a fantastic studio. Rarely do they ever disappoint, and this is another example of the excellent work that they've done once again with this title. So, but
oh yeah, I wholeheartedly agree with that. And you know, even just from the little bit I've played, like yeah, this is something that it deserves your money. Like it's definitely worth picking up for people. But yeah, so yeah, you talked about Chloe and how the story is personal for her. So would you say that the character is so well done in this game that Chloe could carry an entire game by herself? Like, say if they did Uncharted 5 or something, like do you feel like she really stands out as like a main character for Uncharted moving forward? And how does she compare to Nathan Drake?
Okay, that's a very good question. First and foremost, I would say absolutely yes. She can hold her own if they decide to have her in Uncharted 5 or further down the road. A lot of people look at this game and they don't really, some people wanted to compare it and say that this is like another full-fledged Uncharted game, even though it is a standalone game, which it is, but it is a full game on its own. Not necessarily, we can't really call it Uncharted 5 because it is just an individual experience all its own, similar to when they made The Last of Us Left Behind DLC. But to answer the question, yes, I believe she can carry her own because, again, it's a very intriguing character. When we saw her in Uncharted 2, we had a good idea of what the character was, but we didn't really know anything that had to do with the character's backstory. So some of that stuff you do learn about in this particular game, and it really gives you a much different perspective of how she is as a person overall. So I definitely say that she can handle her own. One thing I mentioned in my review is that, even in terms of the combat, if you was to compare her to Drake, Drake is more of a brawler type of character where it just, very reckless and, want to jump on somebody and knock them out type of deal. The way they made the Chloe character's combat, she's more like a martial arts oriented type of character. So I did notice that as I was playing the game, and if I did decide to like go against the enemy, I would see her throwing punches and roundhouse kicks. So it's a little bit more different than somebody like Drake is just straight up going after somebody and just trying to punch them and stuff like that. So her combat techniques are a little bit better. Also, the other thing is that just that, again, from the whole perspective of she is a very different character from Drake. She is a thief, very much like him. So that's something that is shared between the both of them. But again, there's just something about the character that really stands out. It's really hard to really describe. I can say that this year, in terms of the Sony exclusives, we had Aloy in Horizon Zero Dawn, and this is another character that has now become very, very popular for the Sony brand. So I would say the timing of this game coming out is also great in those regards because you have like a lot of great female lead characters. And Chloe is somebody who I definitely think belongs on that list after playing this because it's just so many things about the character that you learn, and you definitely like her a lot more, even more so than you liked her in the last game. In the last game, she was in Uncharted 2. But I do believe she can hold her own. Drake, obviously, a lot of people look at the Uncharted franchise and they feel that Drake is always the star. For those that did not play 4, well, that does definitely change. But I mean, I believe she's definitely the next best person to replace him, unless, of course, they decide to have Drake's daughter become, jump into this line of work also, which I don't really know if they're going to do that. That's to be determined. But yeah, Chloe is an excellent choice, and she can definitely carry the franchise on her own. But as I said in my review, if she does come back, I definitely want to see her team up with Nadine again, because again, the chemistry that those two characters have is they're able to talk. Of course, they have their ups and their downs, but they work very well together as a team. So I feel like them introducing her into this, and then there's certain stuff that happens in the story that I can't really talk about, but them introducing her into this whole dynamic lets me know that they are thinking that is something they can use down the road. So we'll see if it happens.
Yeah. Yeah, and like Chloe was actually in Uncharted 3 as well, but like her character kind of took the back burner a little bit in that game. So that's why she wasn't really memorable in that game, because I guess like the focus was elsewhere. But in Uncharted 2, she definitely kind of stole the show at certain moments. So I'm glad that they finally brought her back and gave her like, her own experience, because it was definitely a great character that they needed to flesh out. And I was kind of unhappy with how, she kind of took the back burner in Uncharted 3. So I'm glad that they finally, decided to bring her back. And I feel like this is a character they can expand on the series with moving forward if they choose to. So yeah, I agree with everything you said.
And you just taught me a lesson, because as you said, I don't even remember seeing her in Uncharted 3. So yeah, it's been a while since I played Uncharted 3. So yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting.
Yeah, it's kind of brief, because I think she's only at like the start of the game or something, like the first level, and then like after that she's not really in it anymore. Okay. So yeah, that's why it's easy to forget that she's in it. But yeah, another question I was gonna ask is because I'm only at like chapter 3 at the moment. So you played the whole thing. Now the thing that always stands out to me about Uncharted games is the fast-paced action and the memorable set piece moments that occur. Like there's always that major action sequence that kind of just like it keeps you on the edge of your seat. Like in Uncharted 2 you have the train scene, in Uncharted 3 you have the plane and the ship and stuff. So like, are there memorable set piece moments in this experience, would you say? Because already from what I've played, there's been some cool moments, but like nothing that's like memorable to that level of the train in Uncharted 2 or the plane or the ship in Uncharted 3. So are there like moments like that?
Absolutely, yes. There definitely are moments like that. There is a few moments in particular. I wish I could talk about them, but the embargo rules state that I can't mention that. But oh man, I'll just put it this way: there is one sequence in particular that is pretty much crazy, and it reminds me of Uncharted 2 in that train scene that you mentioned, because of how intense it is when that stuff happens in the game. But yeah. I can't really talk about it, because it will be spoiling other details. But
oh yeah,
I will say that there definitely are some huge action set pieces. When it starts in the beginning, obviously you have the whole situation of we're introduced to the villain, and then we see some of the stuff that goes on with that. But it definitely gets a lot more dynamic and a lot more crazy as you get deeper into the game. But again, if I was to say anything, right towards the end, I would say maybe around chapter 8 or 9 and onward. Oh, it's like it's a nonstop roller coaster ride with all the stuff that does happen. And you'll see soon enough as you get to that. And of course, everybody that's listening to this that does get their hands on the game, they'll know exactly what I'm talking about once they actually get a chance to try that out. But yeah, the action set pieces are a big part of the experience. So Naughty Dog made sure to throw some stuff in there to keep people engaged, and I think they did an excellent job with that.
Oh yeah, I can't wait to experience all of what you just said. But yeah, so yeah, like, did you actually get to try out any of the multiplayer? at all?
So yeah, with the multiplayer, some of the servers are going live closer to launch. With that said, I did get to try some stuff out, and I know that you know, like they have a Horde Mode feature in Gears of War. They pretty much have their survival arena feature in this game, which is basically just 3 people teaming up to go against 10 waves of enemies. I must confess that, you know, what little I did try, it was okay. You know, my whole thing with Uncharted is that, you know, I really am here for the story more so than the multiplayer. I know there's a lot of people out there that love the multiplayer, and that's totally fine. But the story to me is that's the main ingredient right there. But with that said, I mean, it is fun for what it is. And for people that like the Uncharted multiplayer now, they'll be happy to know that all of that content, even if they don't get the last Scar, I mean, even if they don't get the last Legacy, all that content is going to also be updated in the Uncharted 4 multiplayer. So either way, people are still going to have a chance to try it out as a free update. But I would say it's good for what it is. But, you know, in comparison to the actual story content, it's just two different scenarios. I will say that a lot of the characters, obviously, they are playable skins. So you will see the main villain. He's in there. You'll see Chloe. You'll see Nadine and a few other people. But yeah, it's good for what it is. But I prefer the single player experience more than anything else.
Yeah, I mean, me personally, I was actually surprised that this had its own multiplayer mode. Like, to be honest with you, like, because I was sold on just the story alone. But that's cool because, you know, I mean, I wouldn't say that, you know, Uncharted multiplayer is bad. It can be fun, you know.
Yeah.
So at least the option is there for people who do want to enjoy it and stuff. So that's always a good thing. But yeah, did you notice a lot of collectibles in the story mode as well? Because I found, you know, I've seen like a couple treasures as usual in the Uncharted games that you can collect treasures and stuff. But did you notice like a lot of them scattered throughout the game?
Oh, absolutely.
And were they easy to find as well?
So here's the thing: some of them were easy to find. Others, it requires just a little bit of work. You know, you have to really survey the area. And then there are certain times within the story mode where you have to move through an area quickly, so you don't really get to look in certain places. But I will say yes. To answer the question, there are absolutely a ton of collectibles in this game. This actually, I had to pull up my list to review because I wasn't looking at it. Yeah, there are about 68 treasures total for you to find in this particular game. I know normally for an Uncharted game, I believe it's around 100, maybe a little bit over 100. So the fact that there's 68 for you to collect that's really, really great for what is only supposed to be like a 9 to 10 hour campaign. So yeah, there are a lot of treasures in there. In terms of the weapons, you know, there's 25 weapons that you are able to get and use throughout the campaign. And of course, the main thing that people will want to know is that, yes, there are trophies, and there is a platinum trophy also for those that like platinums that you can get for completing the game. Just like in other Uncharted games, you know, after you play through the campaign, then they have the crushing mode option. So that is also there if people want to play through it again and try to go back and collect the stuff that they didn't collect before. So there's plenty of stuff to collect, plenty of reason to go back and finish and get everything, and also get the platinum. So yeah, this definitely offers quite a bit for the fact that it's only a $40 game versus, you know, the other Uncharted game, which is $60. And the campaign may be a little bit longer, but this is a pretty lengthy campaign for what it is, and it's all good stuff.
Awesome, sounds good. Yeah, that's pretty much everything I had to ask about the game. Was there anything specifically you wanted to highlight about Uncharted Lost Legacy?
So one thing I will say, and I did make mention of this in the review. Now, I did get a chance to interview Usman Ali. This is the actor who played Asav, the main villain in Uncharted Lost Legacy.
Yeah.
One thing I noticed, and I don't really think that this is a spoiler, you know, as you play through the campaign, this is a character that, you know, he appears here and there, but I don't really think he's quite in it as much, as the focus is mainly on, you know, Chloe and Nadine's relationship and their quest to try and get the tusk of Ganesh. So it doesn't really feel like he's in it that much, but there are moments that when he is there, he definitely commands a lot of attention from the audience, and he makes a lot of really dangerous moves to you know, make things difficult for you to get through the game. A lot of his guys, a lot of his villains, enemies out there, all of his henchmen, you have to worry about all of that type of stuff. So I think that the actor did a good job. The character is good, but I do wish that we got more of a dynamic as to, you know, a lot of the reasons why he does what he does. There are some explanations that he does give briefly, but you don't really get a real sense of feeling everything that the character, you know, why he's doing what he's doing, what are the motivations behind everything. You don't really get a full sense of that. You know, you just know mainly that there is conflict, there is war, and this is somebody who obviously, you know, is really trying to really cause a lot of damage. But you don't really get a sense of the character. I mean, I feel like that character could have been handled a little bit better. But for what it is, he does have excellent performances. My only thing is that I wish that he would have been featured a lot more in the actual campaign. When he is there, it's great, you know, and you feel that he's a threat right away. When he's not there, you know, it is more about building a relationship. So that's why I said when we started this conversation, I do think they have bigger plans for Chloe and Nadine teaming up in the future, just if they decide to actually take that route, because they built up a lot of that stuff in this game. But, you know, we ultimately have to see what Naughty Dog decides to do. I know right now the main focal point is on The Last of Us Part 2. That's a game that everybody's looking forward to, and we know that's going to be fantastic. So that'll be great. But yeah, I'm very curious to see what they do with this franchise afterwards. It definitely isn't the end of Uncharted. It's just a question of how they want to tackle the next game when they actually do bring it back. But once again, as I said in my review, fantastic game. Definitely, absolutely need to pick it up. Then you'll get a chance to see how great it is. But definitely worth your time, worth your money. And even if you don't pick it up when it comes out next week on August 22nd, you can always pick it up later this year. But, you know, I just have to say, as I said on the co-op, and I'm going to say on here, Sony has done an excellent job this year with the games, left and right. So this is one game you definitely should pick up, especially if you're an Uncharted fan. And even if you're not an Uncharted fan, but you like action-adventure games, then you absolutely need to pick this up, because you may be surprised by just how much you enjoy it. And definitely looking forward to seeing what happens with the franchise. But I would say if Chloe is in the next game, I would say the franchise is in excellent hands. So wanted to
I would agree.
Oh yeah, I wanted to also thank Sony for, you know, providing me with providing us with a review copy of the game, because, you know, that wouldn't have been possible to review the game without them allowing us the opportunity to do so. So we are thankful for that, and hopefully for those that are thinking about getting the game, hopefully we have convinced you to definitely check it out. But if you do check it out, you do check out this video, feel free to let us know what you think of the game after you had a chance to check it out, because I'm very curious to hear what people think of it, whether or not they agree with some things that we said or disagree. There'll be great conversations that will come from that. But overall, fantastic game, definitely worth buying. And yeah, that's just what I was going to say.
Yeah, definitely salute to Sony. And everyone, make sure you check out Richard's review as well on the website, thekoalition.com. Check that out, you know, as well as this video as well. And just let us know what you think of the game. And, you know, if you're excited to play it and everything. But yeah, that's pretty much it for now. We will be talking about this game much more. I'm sure we'll be talking about it on the next co-op podcast, you know, once I get to play a bit more and everything, and once everyone else gets to play it. So look out for our continued coverage as well. And yeah, until then, enjoy the game and let us know what you think.
Absolutely. Enjoy it. We'll talk to y'all later.
Enjoy. Yeah, take care, people.